What's up, everyone? Welcome into the 143. This is Under Review. I am Joseph Pinn here with my boy Nick Jarvis.
What's up, everybody?
And we are your hosts for Under Review. And here on Under Review, every week we're going to talk about things going on in the sports world. We're going to give our hot takes and opinions on what's going on. And we're just going to have discussions based on
We'll give you the correct opinions, obviously.
The better opinions.
Yes.
That's what we're going to give you.
Yeah.
Anyways, here on Under Review, we like to start our shows off with an interesting stat and our player of the week. And our interesting stat this week is brought to you by Andrews Logistics, who is currently looking for CDL licensed drivers. So if you're interested, give them a call. But our interesting stat comes from the Saturday night game, Bills versus Patriots. And in that game, the Bills came out and had the ball 7 times, which is 7 possessions, and scored a touchdown in each one of those possessions. The first time it's happened in a playoff game, and I'm sure the first time it's ever happened to Bill Belichick. They went 7 for 7 in a playoff game, which is very, very impressive, especially against a Belichick defense.
His lethal defense.
That stat brought to you by Andrews Logistics.
Sure. All right, our player of the week, the first one ever. It is going to be Mr. Josh Allen. Standing at a whopping 6'5", 237 pounds.
What a man.
This absolute dog just absolutely
unit of a man
destroyed Bill Belichick's top 5 New England Patriots defense.
Yes, he did.
Throwing for 308 yards, completing 21 of his 25 passes, throwing for 5 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. He threw more touchdowns than he did interceptions, which is absolutely insane.
That's crazy.
And as if the arm talent of this man was not enough, he gets it done with his legs, rushing for 66 yards off of 6 carries. One throw that specifically impressed me was his touchdown pass to Emmanuel Sanders in the third quarter.
What a
absolutely
dime.
Slung it to him in the back of the end zone. I was very impressed by Mr. Allen this week.
Just an all-around
the first ever player of the week, so he should feel special.
Feel honored. Feel free to call into the show or come into the show.
He should feel special anyway, though, because he's a quarterback playing in the NFL in the playoffs.
He is special. But he should feel even more special now that we've given him a shout-out. All right, so our first topic and our first show is actually a heartbreaker. Our Dallas Cowboys fell hard to the 49ers on Sunday afternoon in prime time. So this week we are putting the Cowboys under review.
Unfortunately.
And Nick, I just have to ask you this question. What do you think was the biggest contributor in the Cowboys' loss to the San Francisco 49ers?
One thing that was not there at all through the entire game, I guess they had it a little bit, but it was that offense.
I would say it was non-existent.
I was really overall not all impressed with Dakota's performance, completing 23 of his 43 passes, barely over 50%, throwing for only 254 yards. He had a touchdown and an interception. He did get it done a little bit with his legs on his 4 carries for 27 yards, which was the other touchdown of the game. I have to give him that. But he just struggled to complete passes throughout the entire game. Every single time he rolled out, the throw on the run was just not there. It was terrible. We couldn't get CeeDee Lamb involved. He was targeted 5 times, but we could only actually complete it to him once.
Well, even 5 targets is just ridiculous. He's supposed to be our star
exactly.
receiver.
And even the passes to CeeDee were absolutely atrocious. I remember a couple times when he was sitting open on the sideline and Dak would just sling it 2 feet over his head. It's what are you doing?
Just uncatchable. They were uncatchable.
You would expect with how much money you're paying this
$75 million in 1 year.
You would just assume that you would get playoff results.
One
not
would
a
only
first-round exit to the 6 seed team.
Exactly.
I would have liked to maybe see a little bit more work given to Mr. Tony Pollard.
Yeah, Tony Pollard needed more carries, definitely more than Zeke. Zeke only had 31 yards on 12 attempts. 31 yards from our $96 million running back, our star running back. That's not acceptable.
His
not acceptable.
Thing that he does is the little feed me thing. Well, We fed you. You didn't eat.
He gave you what you
That
wanted.
was kind of a problem.
What you wanted.
I like Tony Pollard better. I feel like
He's more explosive.
He's more athletic. He's more explosive. He's quicker. He has better hands. Zeke drops way too many screens. That should be a give me.
I think he dropped. I don't have the actual stat, but I feel like it was every screen that he got.
I mean,
I don't remember him catching a single screen.
It was either 0 or 1. We had to punt on way too many drives. We had 11 drives, and to only come out with
Zeke had 1 reception,
17 points, that's not very good. And also, those penalties.
Let us talk about the penalties.
Absolute drive killers. Dallas had 14 penalties for 89 yards.
Let me just say, 14 penalties in a playoff game is a franchise record for a playoff game in penalties.
That's absolutely atrocious.
That's not acceptable in the playoffs. And we were the highest penalized team per game in the regular season. So something about that needs to change, because that's what's costing us. It cost us the Thanksgiving Day game, and it cost us
five of our defensive penalties actually gave the 49ers a first down, which crucial. That kills momentum on defense when you're
especially when our defense played pretty much the entire
when
game.
You're doing your job and holding them to a minimal amount of yards, and then you get a dumb penalty that just gives them the first down, and all your momentum on defense is gone. I was impressed with Leighton Vander Esch. There was a little bit of concern.
It's about time, too.
Yeah, I agree. Since Keanu Neal was out with COVID, Leighton Vander Esch stepped up, and he turned out to be the leading tackler on our team. And then
boy, Leighton. Obviously, Micah came out.
I was going to say Micah Parsons obviously showed out. Just
did a great job.
Another day at the office for old Micah.
I think our defense played very well. 23 points from a highly explosive offense. And some crucial stops in the fourth quarter.
I would agree.
When we needed them most, they got those stops.
Mm-hmm.
I will say something else about our offense that is very just sad is 2 top DBs for the 49ers were also out. So they had a depleted secondary, which one would assume that a $75 million quarterback would take advantage of that and throw it downfield. He did not. And he was unable to get any passes off downfield, hardly.
Defensively, for Dallas, Deebo Samuel presented a problem. It seemed like every single play.
Running us crazy.
If he wanted to run the ball, he ran it. If he wanted to catch and run, he did that.
We made Jimmy G look like an amazing quarterback.
Exactly. And not that Jimmy G is awful. He's
just average. He's an average quarterback.
He's an average
He's a pocket passer. I don't think he should have been torching our defense like he did.
Debo had, just to give you what
Debo
he put up,
Debo's a
3
beast,
receptions,
but we knew that coming.
38 yards, 10 carries, 72 yards, and 1 touchdown. That was off of his rush.
Debo had a great game, but he's been doing great all season, and we knew that he was going to come out and they were going to use him. Kyle Shanahan's a very good offensive-minded coach.
They didn't use George Kittle at all, which
we let their third-string running back Elijah Mitchell get 96 yards.
I mean, for the beginning of the game, they just kind of ran it down our throats. Like, they just kept up the middle over and over again.
And we for some reason weren't prepared, even though they had the second best rushing attack in pro football.
I know, and it's like whenever they're lining up to pass, or whenever it's a pass play, like we obviously know who it's going to. Deebo Samuel, right?
Well, we thought the defense knew. They did not.
Yes,
but this game was not on our defense. It was definitely on our offense. More importantly, on our quarterback.
I would agree.
And that last play at the end was a very controversial play. But
it should not have come down to that. It shouldn't have come down to the very last play.
It's what Jerry Jones said. That drive was not indicative
of the game. Our defense came through in the clutch moments at the very end of the game. Our offense could not.
The score is deceiving. It was more like 23-7, and then we had a few good drives in the fourth quarter, but it was not enough.
Offense just could not move the ball down the field. Like, at the very least, we should have had a few field goals, right? Like 2 field goals, and this game is tied, and maybe we could see it in overtime.
We had 11 possessions, and we had 8 of them where we didn't come up with any points with punts and turnovers. So that's unacceptable.
I was just very frustrated because our offense has so many weapons. We've got
Tons of weapons.
2 stud receivers, Amari Cooper,
CeeDee
Lamb.
Cedric
I feel like
Wilson
Cedric Wilson
is on the up and up.
he don't sleep on him, like he's
Well,
out there.
he had some great catches in that game too.
And then Dalton Schultz, actually, I think he's pretty explosive.
Dalton
He's
Schultz
scary,
is a good pickup.
He's always there's a large upside is very high for him.
Always open.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he just finds that hole in the middle of the field, and then when you give it to him, he's able to. He made a couple yards after catch.
He doesn't have any drops,
plays.
really. He doesn't really drop the ball. Like, he's very reliable. He had 8 targets and 7 receptions. So that's a very, very reliable. He actually was our leading receiver with 89 yards.
Mm-hmm.
So good job, Dalton.
Yep.
Way to show up.
And then I guess to end this little part with something positive, how about old Brian Anger?
Brian Anger, the Pro Bowl punter.
Certainly got a lot of work. I would say a lot more than I wanted, but step aside Taysom Hill and make way for the new Swiss Army knife, Brian Anger.
1 attempt, 1 completion, 16 yards, 100% completion rating.
That's what I'm saying.
That's how you.
That's what I'm saying.
Dak, why don't you take some lessons?
Hey, yeah, 100%.
Hopefully, we will take this loss to regroup and reassess and get ready for next season. Hopefully, some changes.
We have a lot of things to figure
the coaching
out
staff
for next season, offensively, defensively, and then there's a lot of
staff issues.
Yeah, I was about to say staff issues. Like, for example, Dan Quinn could possibly be leaving. There's a possibility.
We need to keep Dan Quinn.
Kellen Moore. I mean, there's just a lot going on here.
So the Cowboys came out and were very disappointing. As you can tell, we are
a little frustrated.
We're Cowboys fans, and we're just not happy along with Cowboy Nation. And hopefully we can have a better season next season and take advantage of the fact that our division is also depleted. And it's probably going to be like that for about 1 more year at least.
I would agree. I would agree.
Come back out, take advantage of it next year, but a very disappointing and heartbreaking loss at AT&T Stadium.
At home. For some reason, we just did not like to win at home this season.
No, we
couldn't tell you what it was. I got no clue.
But let's shift gears to a team that's actually still in the playoffs, a team that's actually winning.
So that team that we were talking about is the Cincinnati Bengals, who just won their first playoff game.
Super impressive.
In 31 years.
That is a long time.
That's
longer than we've been alive.
That is. So, Joseph,
Nicholas.
I would just like to know.
I would like to tell you.
What has been some of the factors that played into the Bengals' success this year?
Well, it goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyways because this is a podcast. The number one factor, the overall number one factor by far in the Bengals' successful season and playoff win, Joe Burrow, who is a kid out of LSU, before that Ohio State, won the national championship, obviously his senior year at LSU. Goes number 1 in the draft to one of the worst teams we've ever seen in NFL history, a laughingstock. Turns the program around, obviously gets injured pretty soon into his first year. Comes back this year, and he's lighting everyone up. And in the playoff game, it was pretty easy to see his connection with former teammate at LSU, now Bengals teammate, Jamar Chase, with 9 receptions for 116 yards. That's really impressive by the rookie. And Joe Burrow was just lighting up the Raiders secondary, which isn't amazing, but it's still really impressive that he did that. And he has the confidence of a veteran QB, even though he's a beginner. And he doesn't have a great offensive line. And so he's usually scrambling, but he makes the most out of plays, and he's not afraid to throw it downfield. And then you can even see the confidence in his
He's able to utilize the offensive weapons that he has,
it's
very, very well.
Impressive.
And then back to what Joseph was talking about with his confidence. That's what I really like about Joe Burrow is he sees himself and his team as winners. And what I mean by that is, so after this playoff game, the reporter asked Joe Burrow, and she was like, so how does this playoff win feel since your team, or since the Cincinnati Bengals have not won a playoff game in 31 years? And he at first acknowledged that it was a big win for the city, for the team, because obviously they have had a huge playoff drought. But then he said it's no big celebration like when they won the division because that's what they were expecting. Like he just walked
He expects to win.
and expects to win. Like he has a extremely
That's the
high
kind of mentality you need from a
confidence
quarterback.
level. Right. I would agree. And then I feel like that when you have that from a quarterback, it helps rub off on everyone else. Because the quarterback, he's the captain of the team, right? So when they see their captain acting like that, it makes everyone else think, all right, well, I guess we got this. Our captain is going to lead us into the storm.
Is the reason they've been so successful.
I would agree.
Him and his young but explosive receiving core with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd.
Yes.
And then Joe Mixon out of the backfield. They are so explosive, and they keep defenses on their toes.
Dangerous players. And that's with a not very good defense. I wouldn't say absolutely atrocious defense, but the Bengals defense,
it's not.
I wouldn't say it's
average.
Anything
I think
special.
It's average.
Definitely not anything special.
Well, they couldn't really stop Derek Carr as much as they wanted to.
Yeah.
Letting the Raiders get that.
I was a little saddened by.
I love Derek.
Loss.
Derek is our boy. Hey, Derek, if you ever want to come on the show, you're welcome.
Yes, absolutely.
You're welcome we love you here.
He has a spot.
At the 143.
I just wanted Derek Carr to succeed because he's such a good guy, and with everything that the Raiders organization went through,
so much.
I'm not saying I feel bad for the
John
Raiders.
Gruden.
Not for the Raiders organization, just for Derek Carr. Like
Henry Ruggs.
That's where my sympathy only goes is to Derek Carr.
Yeah, that's true.
I wanted him to succeed because he, despite all of that, still managed to get his team to the playoffs. He kind of just said, that doesn't really matter. I'm going to still lead this team to success however I can, and that's exactly what he did. And I hope for good things for him in the future because I am a big Derek Carr fan.
I'm with you. Derek Carr is a stand-up leader, and in an organization with so many problems, he's pretty much the one shining light there.
He's also a very good quarterback as well. Like he's very knowledgeable in the game.
Yeah, he is.
And he actually had a lot of passing yards. He was up there.
He had 310 passing yards.
The big dogs.
He broke 300, and before this game, when he broke 300 passing yards, the Raiders were undefeated this season.
Right.
Until this game, so he did everything he could. And obviously that last drive in the very end, he took his team all the way down the field, just couldn't put it in the end zone. But props to Derek Carr.
I mean, they had every opportunity at the end. I thought they were going to do it because they were driving down, but then there was that pick at the end in the red zone.
Not much you can do about that. It was 4th and goal.
I mean, I would agree. They were trying to pull a Chargers from
the better team won.
I would agree. The better team did win.
And they're going to take on Tennessee on Saturday. And I don't believe that Tennessee is.
I don't know. I'm not sure about Tennessee. I have no
number
clue.
1 seed. They're not. I don't think they're that threatening.
I don't think they're the best in the AFC, which is just leads me to question.
I think if they were in the NFC, they would be 4.
I would say the NFC is harder to go to the Super Bowl than the AFC. Think about, so obviously from a Cowboys fan, I'm looking at it from the perspective of Dallas.
As you should.
You would potentially have to beat Tom Brady at home. And then if you do that, by some miracle, you beat playoff Tom. You have to go to Lambeau Field, beat Aaron Rodgers at home.
Not because he's good, but because he's at home. I'm going to just clarify that.
And then if you somehow, once again, by a miracle, beat Aaron at Lambeau, which there's only one human on the planet that can play in those conditions, and that's Aaron Rodgers. If you beat them by some miracle, then you get to play in the Super Bowl.
I would say, to your point, though, Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, because Tom Brady beat him at home in the NFC Championship last year.
I would agree.
Tom Brady, he's the king of playing in the cold. Actually, he's the king of football.
He's just
in general.
Yeah, I was about to say he is the GOAT.
He's the GOAT. You can't do anything about it.
The king of playoff football as well.
Yes.
There's no beating playoff Tom.
It's near impossible.
I don't really.
The
I
Bucs
hope.
rolled through everyone
I would agree.
last season. They rolled through. They ended Drew Brees' career.
Yes.
At home.
Even in the Super Bowl, they were still just dicing it up.
They beat Aaron in the NFC Championship at Lambeau.
Yep. Hopefully they can do that again.
Patrick Mahomes.
Hey, or maybe the Packers can just go ahead and lose.
To the 49ers.
It
would be impressive if the San Francisco 49ers, who are used to sun and warmth, can go to Lambeau Field and beat the Packers. I wouldn't complain, but
I would not complain either. I don't know if anyone can tell, but we're not very big Packers fans.
We are diehard not Packers fans.
I'm not an Aaron Rodgers fan. I don't really like him.
I think he needs to cut his hair.
I would agree.
Aaron, if you're watching right now, please.
I think he looks like a bozo with the one strap chin strap.
That is a little dated. It's dated.
I mean, his helmet is so old. I say run with a speed flex, all right? If I were in the NFL,
he doesn't need a helmet. The refs don't let him get touched.
Flex.
So I mean,
yeah, exactly.
The refs are always on his side. I think there's no debating that.
I'm not going to debate that because that's just the facts.
I think that's a good segue into our next segment as well.
Yes.
So we're going to be giving you our contenders for the Super Bowl, the people we think are going to go. Nick's going to take the AFC. So I'll take the NFC. So Nick, why don't you go ahead?
So my Super Bowl contender is – so this was a little bit close. Despite maybe popular opinion, I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills.
Ooh, okay. Interesting.
And I think this next game is going to indicate who the actual AFC contender is. I think whoever comes out of the Chiefs-Bills game is going to be the one that
I think the Bengals are too young, and I think the Titans are just not it.
I would agree. So the reason why I'm choosing the Bills is because I see the Bills defense as being better than the Chiefs defense.
I would definitely
personal opinion.
And they've been really hot.
They have been hot, and also Josh Allen has really, I feel like he's gotten into his groove.
Yes.
These last couple games, they're coming off a huge win, so they have a lot of momentum, and that was against a pretty good team, the Patriots. Obviously, no one was expecting the Steelers.
Well, there was a lot of doubt about Josh Allen playing in the cold. That was the big thing.
Because that was the revenge game for whenever they played at home before, and the Patriots just absolutely rammed it down their throat every single play.
With the run game, Mac Jones,
and then
3 passes.
And then the Bills could not do anything on offense.
And they came prepared this time, and props to them. And so I understand why they would be your contender.
Josh Allen has a lot of dangerous weapons. You got Stephon Diggs. Yeah,
he's
Dawson Knox, Emmanuel Sanders, Devin Singletary. I mean, he's not
even McKenzie,
a really, really good running back, but he can make you pay every now and then if you try and take advantage of him. I feel like you can maybe sneak Cole Beasley in there, because what happens is you can get too caught up with Stephon Diggs that you forget Cole Beasley is there, and that's what happened in the Patriots game.
Yep. His
first reception, I believe, was he caught it and turned around and ran for 20 yards just because they were so focused on everyone else. But my contender,
he's a weapon. Just ask Tony Romo.
Buffalo Bills.
I respect that. Obviously, don't count out the Chiefs yet.
I'm not. That's why I'll go back to what I said at the beginning. I think whoever comes out of the Bills-Chiefs game is going to be the one that does it for the AFC.
Agree with you. For my NFC Super Bowl contender, it was not even close in my mind. Ladies and gentlemen, it is not the Green Bay Packers.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Because what did we see last year? NFC Championship at Lambeau Field. They lost to the GOAT. And I think Tom Brady is going to rally his troops.
I mean, they call him the GOAT for a reason.
He's not losing to Matthew Stafford. Let's just get that out of the way. Matthew Stafford will be going home along with the Rams and Sean McVay. And Tom Brady will take his team to Lambeau. He will beat Aaron Rodgers again in the NFC Championship. And I believe that Tom Brady will go to the Super Bowl again and play Josh Allen and the Bills.
I said it before, and I will say it again. There is no beating playoff Tom.
That is a different
kind of human.
Any team that beats the GOAT, props to them in the playoffs. That's very hard to do. which is why even if the Cowboys had beat
And
the 49ers,
the Buccaneers
nobody
have
was thinking they'd
a
win.
really good defense.
Really good defense. And they got their guys back right before the start of the playoffs.
Tom Brady is going to get the ball a ton because I feel like they have a really, really
and
good
Mike
defense.
Evans is very hard to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Playoff Lenny, you always got to take Leonard Fournette into
The
account.
guy's huge.
But all in all, it comes down to Tom Brady himself. So our contenders that we have are the Bucks and the Bills.
Mhm.
And if we're right, then you should subscribe and comment, or you should do that anyways. But that's
Obviously,
what we think.
we're both betting money on this, so if we win, we
We're
get
not betting
$1
money.
million.
We are definitely not betting money.
Dude.
Disclaimer.
I'm totally.
We're not betting
money.
people.
Well, I really hope that the Bills get this because I hate being wrong, and
I also
losing.
hate being wrong.
So if that happens, I might just punch Joseph in the face.
So Bills, please win for me.
All right. So as we would like to end our podcast, we're going to incorporate a quote that applies from the game of football to life.
Football and life.
To life.
Connected.
Football to life.
Write that
Meshed together. Okay. This first quote, this first ever, brought to you by the Vince Lombardi. The only reason I can tolerate him as a Packers coach is because it's correct. He's a legend. I mean, the Super Bowl trophy is kind of named after him, the Lombardi trophy.
Yeah.
So
it says it right here.
You have to have
our picture.
some sort of respect for him. And he was before Aaron Rodgers, so I can kind of tolerate him.
Mm.
All right. Perfection is not attainable, but if we chase perfection, we can catch excellence.
That's what we'd like to leave you with, ladies
Ain't that
and
the
gentlemen.
truth?
Vince Lombardi, spitting some bars.
Absolutely. So
And
I hope everyone enjoyed our first episode. Please tune in next week for our second episode.
Wednesday mornings.
Go blow up our YouTube, our Instagram, our everything, our Spotify. Make sure to give us a follow and a subscription. We will
And a
see
comment if you want to hear something specific
next time
in our other podcasts. Thank you so much for tuning in to Under Review. You have a good week.